Hello, dear students. Welcome back in class 10th biology. Students, I hope that you all are safe and sound. Well, today we are going to start a new chapter, chapter 9, Heredity and Evolution. In today's lecture of this chapter, we will learn in detail about heredity, variations and causes of variations, genetics, accumulation of variations, inherited traits, rules for inheritance of traits, Mendel's contribution, some important terms in genetics, monohybrid cross, law of dominance, and law of segregation. Let us see what is heredity. Children, normally you resemble your parents and also have close resemblances with your brothers and sisters. Though you are not identical, yet you have some resemblances with each other. As you see in this family, the children resemble their parents. The brothers and sisters have some close resemblances with each other, but they are not exactly resembling each other. They are different from each other on the basis of many features. It means each person has some characters in which he or she differs from other person and from his or her parents and brothers or sisters. Children resemble their parents because they have inherited some characters from them. This passing on the characteristics from parents to offsprings or from one generation to next generation is called heredity or inheritance. The differences in the characters which make them different from each other are called variations. Such variations are also seen in animals, in plants. So, what are variations? The differences in the traits shown by individuals of species and also by offsprings of same parents are referred to as variations. In this way, animals, plants also show changes in their characteristics which make them different from each other. Such changes in their characteristics are called variations. So, what is heredity? It is the transmission of characters from one generation to another or from parents to offsprings. And what is variation? It is the difference in the traits shown by individuals of species and also by offsprings of same parents. Now let us see what is the difference between character and trait. Character is the distinct, well-defined morphological or physiological feature of the individual. For example, height of the body, color and size of the eye, color of the hair, shape of the nose, etc. These makes characters. Trait is the distinguishable expression of a character. For example, height. Height can be tall or can be dwarf or short. So, tallness and dwarfness are the traits of the character of height. Color of the eye is blue or black. So, color of the eye is the character and blue or black are the traits of the color of eye. Similarly, black or white for the character of breeds of animals. These, like for example, you can see from this picture that some cats are white in color and some are brown in color. So, color is the character and being brown or white are the traits of that character that makes them different on the basis of color. So, color is the character and being brown or white are the traits of the color of these cats. So this is what makes difference between character and trait. Every character has different traits. Students, during reproduction, whether sexual or asexual reproduction, the offsprings receive two types of features from their parents. One is the common basic body design. For example, bacteria reproduce to form bacteria. Human beings give birth to human beings with common basic body design. And second suitable changes, the variations, which are responsible for differences in the offspring's generation after generation. These are the inherited variations which are transferred from parents to the offsprings or from one generation to next generation. What is the cause of variations in the individuals of species? Students, in asexually reproducing organisms, the minor errors in DNA copying at the time of cell division are the main sources of variation. Sexually reproducing organisms involve two parents and produce haploid gametes by meiosis cell division. In formation of gametes, some events takes place during meiosis cell division which bring variations in the individuals of new generation. These events are chance separation of homologous chromosomes during formation of gamete, then crossing over of homologous chromosomes during formation of haploid gametes, and then the random union of male and female gametes during fertilization to form zygote that develops to form a new individual and creates new variations in those organisms. And mutations, that is change in DNA sequence due to errors in DNA copying or exposure to harmful UV radiations, etc. Students, what are homologous chromosomes and what is crossing over of homologous chromosomes? About this you will study in higher classes if you opt medical sciences. At present you must know that these are the important events that takes place during meiosis cell division, during the formation of gametes in the cell, that lead to new combinations and brings variations in the individuals of next generation. Students, now let us see how the variations that appear in an organism of one generation are passed on to the organisms of next generation and so on. And also in each generation, the organisms acquire and add some new variations, and these variations accumulate and passed on to the more and more individuals of the next generations. In this way, variations increase with each passing generation and diversity spreads over succeeding generations. Students, you can see in this picture that this original organism, for example, it is one bacterium with a common body design, divides to produce two new bacteria with the same common body design, but minor changes can be seen in these two new individuals. For example, this parent bacterium is represented by this body design and blue color. The same body design is found in these two new bacteria, but with the minor change, minor variation. It is shown here with the red color and here it is shown with the green color. These are the new changes that develop in these two new bacteria. Now these two new bacteria become parent and divide to produce four new bacteria. They are formed with the same common body design, with the variations occur in these parents. These variations are also passed on. You can see that red and red variations are passed on to the next generation, and green from this bacterium is passed to this next generation. Along with this, More variations also occur in this new generation. Like here, it is shown with the light blue color. Here it is shown with this type of color, and some are with the same designs or variations are there. But along with the previous common body design, previous variations, the new variations also appear in this generation. In this way, the variations are passed on from one generation to another generation, and along with this, some new variations are also add on, and these get accumulated and passed on from one generation to another generation, and it leads to diversity over succeeding generations. So this is how the variations leads to diversity among the organisms generation after generation. Now let us see some questions which are given as blueprint questions on page number 143 of your textbook of science in chapter 9. First question is, if a trait A exists in 10% of population of an asexually reproducing species and a trait B exists in 60% of the same population, which trait is likely to have arisen earlier? Students, as this question says, the species are asexually reproducing. So there would be only very minor differences generated due to small inaccuracies or errors in DNA copying. So trait B, which exists in 60% of same population, may get inherited earlier, while trait A, which exists in 10% of population, may be originated late due to variations. So trait B have arisen earlier since it is present in 60% of the same population. Now let us see another question. How does the creation of variations in a species promote survival? Students, if some variations occur in few individuals in a population, then there would be some chances for them to adapt themselves and survive even after a drastic change occur in the environment of species. Let us take one example. If there were a population of bacteria living in a temperate water, and if the temperature of water were to be increased by sudden global warming or by heat wave, then the bacteria which do not have variations to tolerate this heat wave would die simply. But the bacteria called bacteria variants which can tolerate heat wave have better survival chances in heat wave in comparison to non-variant bacteria having no capacity to tolerate heat wave. So this means variations increases the adaptability of an organism to its changing environmental conditions, and hence the creation of variations in a species promote their survival. Now students, let us see what are inherited traits. The traits or characters that are passed on from parents to offsprings are called inherited traits. Let us see some examples. See, in this picture there are two forms of earlobes are shown. One is free earlobe and other is attached one. You can also check your earlobes whether these are free or attached, or how many members of your family have free earlobes or attached earlobes. These type of traits are passed on from one generation to another, from parents to offsprings in humans. Similarly, brown eyes, grey eyes, green eyes, blue eyes, these all are the inherited traits which are passed from parents to next generation. Such type of traits are called inherited traits. There are many more examples of inherited traits like skin color, eye color, height, weight, shape of nose, etc. Students, there are certain characters that appear in the individual temporarily in response to environment, such as scar on the forehead or arm, sun-tanned skin, knowledge, good music qualities, various skills, good dancer, etc. These characters are called acquired characters, which are acquired by the individual due to his or her experience or in response to the environmental factors. Such type of acquired characters cannot be passed on to the offsprings of next generation. For example, the bore in the pinna of the ear to wear earrings, or nose bore in the nose to wear nose pin. These type of changes occur in the body. They cannot be inherited, they cannot be passed on from one generation to another. You never see a child born with the bore in pinna or nose, as their mother have bore in their nose and their ear pinna, but the child that gets birth from the mother does not have those type of characters in the parts of his or her body. Such type of characters are called acquired characters, which cannot be passed on from parents or to the next generation. But the characters, inherited characters, are the characters which are passed on from parents to next generation, just as free or attached earlobes, eye color, nose shape, height, etc. Now the question arises that how these traits are passed on from parents to offsprings, or from one generation to another generation. Students, we know that genes are the basic units of heredity, which are located on chromosomes. These are the hereditary vehicles which carry the characters from one generation to next generation through gametes during sexual reproduction. So, gametes are the physical link between parents and offsprings, or between two successive generations, that carry the characters in the form of DNA from one generation to another generation. Who gave the rules of inheritance of traits? Who studied the traits can be passed from one generation to another? Yes, to find out the answers of these questions, we have to study the rules of inheritance of traits given by Gregor Johann Mendel, who is the father of genetics. Gregor Johann Mendel is the father of genetics. He was first to demonstrate the mechanism of transmission of characters from one generation to another generation. The rules of inheritance of traits in human beings arose due to fact that both father and mother contribute practically equal amount of genetic material, that is DNA, to their children. Thus, each trait is influenced by both paternal and maternal DNA. Gregor Johann Mendel gave the laws of inheritance. For this, he chose the material for his experiment of inheritance, that is garden pea. The scientific name of garden pea is Pisum sativum. Why he chose this garden pea as a material for the experiments of inheritance? Because of certain characteristics. Garden pea is easily available and easy to grow. It produces bisexual flowers which are self-pollinated and can be cross-pollinated experimentally. It produces large number of offsprings which complete its life cycle in one season. It requires little care except at the time of crossbreeding. So, due to these features of garden pea, Gregor Johann Mendel chose garden pea as a material for his experiment of inheritance. Mendel selected 7 visible contrasting characters of pea plants for his experiment, out of which one is dominant trait and the other one is recessive trait. For example, seed shape, dominant trait is round shape of seed and recessive trait is wrinkled shape of seed. Then seed color, yellow color is the dominant trait and green color of seed is the recessive trait. Flower color, purple color of the flower is the dominant trait and white color of the flower is a recessive trait. Flower position, axial position of flower is the dominant trait and terminal position of flower is the recessive trait. Plant height, tallness is the dominant trait and short or dwarfness is the recessive trait of pea plant. Pod shape, the inflated pod shape is dominant trait and constricted is the recessive trait. Pod color, green color of the pod is dominant trait and yellow color of the pod is the recessive trait. Mendel took pea plants with different characteristics. For example, a tall plant and a short or dwarf plant to produce the progeny by crossing them and calculate the percentage of tall or short plant progeny in his experiment. Students, before studying the experiments of inheritance conducted by Mendel, let us study about some important terms which are used in his experiment in genetics. Phenotype. Phenotype means the observable or visible character or trait of an individual. For example, if we say it is male and female, tall or dwarf, black eyes or grey eyes, round seeds or wrinkled seeds, etc. These are the visible characteristics or traits of an individual. We call them phenotypic traits. What makes these phenotypic traits is their genetic makeup. So, genotype is the genetic makeup of the character or the trait of an individual. For example, XY is the genetic or genotype of male, XX is the genotype for female, capital T for pure tall, capital T for hybrid tall, small t for pure dwarf, etc. These alphabets are written to indicate the genotype of the traits of an individual. As every trait or character is controlled by a pair of genes, one comes from father and other comes from mother. The two alphabets representing the pair of genes are actually the various forms of genes which occur at the same particular position over the chromosomes. These are called alleles. Capital T for pure tall. These capital T and capital T are the alleles of the genes located over the chromosomes occupying the same position. They may express the same or different traits of character. For example, capital T are the identical alleles for tallness, and small t are the identical alleles of dwarfness. Tallness and dwarfness are the two traits of character height. And when the two alleles are similar, identical, that condition is called homozygous condition or the pure condition. And if the alleles are not similar, then this condition is called heterozygous condition. For example, capital T, small t. These are the non-identical alleles and form the heterozygous condition. And here the character expressed, the trait of the character height is expressed as tall, which is, so this heterozygous condition is also called hybrid condition, and in this case the plant is called hybrid tall. About this you will study in the next slides. So let us see what is homozygous condition. So we have just seen that homozygous condition or the individual has the identical alleles of genes of a character. Capital T is the homozygous tall or pure tall. Small t is the homozygous dwarf or pure dwarf. So homozygous condition is considered as the pure character. Then heterozygous. Heterozygous individual or trait means having the contrasting alleles of gene of a character. For example, capital T, small t represents the heterozygous condition, and here the trait which express itself is the tallness. So capital T, small t is used for heterozygous conditions to represent hybrid tall plant or any tall character. It is the hybrid character. Now let us see what is dominant allele or trait. First, have a look on this example, capital T or capital T and small t. You have just studied that capital T represent the homozygous condition of tallness trait of height character, and capital T, small t denotes the heterozygous condition or hybrid condition of tallness trait of height character. So dominant, capital T represents the dominant allele or trait of height character, that is tall. Capital T is called the dominant allele. It represents dominant allele or dominant trait because it can express its trait even in the presence of the recessive allele, which is represented by small t. So recessive allele is the allele which cannot express its trait of dwarfness in the presence of capital T, which is meant for tall trait of height character. So in this hybrid condition, the trait, the allele which express its trait even in the presence of recessive allele is known as dominant allele or trait, and it is represented by capital letter, whereas the allele which cannot express itself in the presence of dominant allele is known as recessive allele. Why it happens so? Because in heterozygous condition, even the dominant allele produces an effective protein for expressing its effect, whereas the recessive allele in heterozygous condition cannot produce effective protein to express its trait. That is why it is recessive allele, which is denoted by small letter, and the dominant allele is denoted by capital letter. So dominant allele is the factor or the allele which can express itself both in homozygous condition or in heterozygous condition. Whereas recessive allele is the factor or the allele which is unable to express itself in heterozygous or hybrid condition but can express only in the homozygous condition. Means recessive allele can express its trait only when its partner allele is also recessive. Means small t are the pair of alleles which can express the trait of dwarfness only when they are in when both are in recessive condition and in homozygous condition. So for expressing the dwarfness, which is a recessive trait, the genotype of the individual should be small t, whereas to express the tallness trait of height character, the individual can have either capital T homozygous condition or capital T small t as the heterozygous condition. Now let us study about the first experiment of inheritance conducted by Mendel by taking two traits of single character. Mono means single, hybrid means heterozygous condition, mono-hybrid cross. An experiment dealing with study of inheritance of one character is called monohybrid cross. It is the cross between two organisms of same species which studies the inheritance of two traits of a single character. For example, height is the single character and it consists of two traits, tall and dwarf. So Mendel considered the two contrasting traits of a single character in his monohybrid cross. So an experiment dealing with study of inheritance of single character or one character is called monohybrid cross. Now let us see the explanation of monohybrid cross. Mendel selected two sets of pure breeding pea plants with contrasting traits for single character, that is height. For example, homozygous or pure tall pea plant and homozygous or pure dwarf pea plant. The genotype of homozygous tall pea plant are capital T and genotype of homozygous or pure dwarf pea plant is small t. Mendel cross-pollinated the homozygous or pure tall pea plant with the homozygous or pure dwarf pea plant. These plants formed the parent generation P1. He dusted the pollen grains from the flowers of tall pea plant over the stigma of flowers of dwarf pea plant, from where the stamens are removed, and the process of removal of stamens from the flowers is known as emasculation. So he dusted the pollen grains of tall pea plant over the stigma of emasculated dwarf pea plants. After cross pollination, the seeds are produced and the seeds were collected by him and sown to produce plants of F1 generation. Now, what he found? Mendel found that all pea plants raised from the seeds of first generation parent plants were all tall. This progeny obtained is called as F1 generation. Progeny means generation and it is called F1 generation. And in this F1 generation, he found that no intermediate size or dwarf plants were found. Parents were tall and pure dwarf. But when the seeds collected from these parents and sown and the F1 generation plants were raised, he found that no dwarf plant or medium size plant were obtained. All plants were tall. Now what he did? The plants of F1 generation were self-pollinated, and again the seeds were collected and sown to produce plants of F2 generation. This time Mendel noted that 75% of pea plants were seen tall and 25% of pea plant were dwarf. Now at this time their parents are totally tall plants. But from these parents, when the F2 generation plants were raised, he found that 75% were tall and 25% pea plants were dwarf, from where these dwarf character appear in pea plants. Now what he calculated? He calculated the ratio of tall plants and dwarf pea plants in F2 generation as 75% ratio 25% means the ratio of 3:1. This is known as phenotypic ratio because 75% plants were appeared as tall plants and 25% plants appear as dwarf plants as their phenotypes. So this 3:1 is the phenotypic ratio of monohybrid cross. Then he found genotypically that 25% were pure tall with the genotype capital T, and 50% pea plants were hybrid tall with genotype capital T, small t, and 25% plants were pure dwarf with genotype small t. So he calculated the genotypic ratio as 1:2:1. So what is the genotypic ratio of monohybrid cross? 1:2:1, which means that 25% were pure tall with genotype capital T, 50% were hybrid tall with the genotype capital T, small t, and 25% were pure dwarf with genotype small t. Now appearance of dwarf plant in F2 generation indicated that plants of F1 generation contained the alleles of traits of both tallness and dwarfness. However, only the trait of tall plants were expressed even in the presence of allele for dwarf plant. So, tall plants denoted by capital T represents the dominant trait which is expressed in the presence of recessive trait, that is dwarf. So dwarf trait could not be expressed in the presence of dominant allele, that is meant for tallness. That is why no dwarf plant was appeared in F1 generation. It gets suppressed in the presence of dominant allele. So due to this, Mendel gave the law of dominance, that the allele which express itself in the presence of recessive allele is known as dominant allele, and the allele which cannot express itself in the presence of dominant allele is known as recessive allele. So in this condition, capital T is the dominant allele, whereas small t is the recessive allele. Now students, let us see how to write monohybrid cross in the form of flowchart. First we have to write parents P1 as male plant and female plant. Then we have to write phenotype as pure tall P plant homozygous tall and pure dwarf P plant homozygous dwarf. As tallness trait is dominant over dwarfness trait, so genotype of pure tall P plants is capital T and genotype of dwarf P plant is small t, as dwarfness is a recessive trait. Then at the time of gamete formation, the alleles of tall trait and dwarf trait segregate and each gamete receives one allele of that trait. Each gamete of tall plants receive single T for tall trait and each gamete of dwarf P plant receives single small t for dwarf trait. At the time of fertilization, male gamete and female gamete fuse to form the plants of F1 generation, where all plants are found to be tall, as tall trait is dominant over dwarf trait. So tallness trait is expressed, and dwarfness trait being recessive trait cannot be expressed in the presence of dominant trait. So in F1 generation all plants are found to be tall. Now plants of F1 generation become the parents of F2 generation. Phenotype of all plants is same, as all are hybrid tall. Their genotype is capital T, small t, capital T, small t. These plants undergo cell pollination. Now this time half gametes will carry allele of tall trait, that is capital T, and half will carry the allele of dwarf trait as small t. To show the results of fertilization, in order to get F2 generation, we have to draw Punnett square like this. In F2 generation, we find phenotypically 75% plants are tall and 25% plants are dwarf. So the phenotypic ratio of monohybrid cross is 3:1. And if we see on the basis of genotype, then we see that 25% plants are pure tall, 50% plants are hybrid tall, and 25% plants are pure dwarf, with genotype capital T for pure tall, capital T small t for hybrid tall, and small t for pure dwarf, and the ratio, genotypic ratio of monohybrid cross comes out to be 1:2:1. So in the exams you can be asked to draw the flowchart of monohybrid cross, or you can be asked to write the phenotypic ratio of monohybrid cross, that is 3:1, and genotypic ratio of monohybrid cross, that comes out to be 1:2:1. So Mendel gave two laws of monohybrid cross. One is law of dominance and the law of segregation. Law of dominance: in crossing between two organisms pure for contrasting traits of a pair homozygous, only one trait of pair appears in F1 generation. This trait is called dominant trait, while the other one, which does not express itself in F1 generation, is called recessive trait. As you have seen that when pure tall pea plant is crossbred with the pure dwarf pea plant having the genotype capital T, small t, it forms the hybrid tall pea plant with genotype capital T, small t. In this, only one trait, that is capital T for tallness, expresses itself, hence it is dominant, while the other unit, small t, for dwarfness remains unexpressed. Hence this is called recessive trait. So this law is known as law of dominance. This law is also known as law of segregation because the monohybrid cross is based on law of segregation, which states that the two factors of a character which are together in individual parent separate randomly at the time of gamete formation. You have seen that here the capital T, here the during the formation of gametes, these alleles get separate randomly at the time of gamete formation. As a result, each gamete contains a single allele or factor or a gene of a character. It is therefore always pure for characters. They get combined at the time of fertilization. As these factors do not mix, that is why this law is also known as law of purity of gametes. Thank you and have a nice day.